Hey, what's up guys? I wanted to shoot a quick video sharing a little more of my story with you guys. Most of you will probably already know that I came from the prison, right? That's how I got into this business. I was looking for a way out of my job as a corrections officer, and that's how I stumbled on the overages. But I haven't talked a lot about what was life like before the prison. What did I do? Where was I at? All that good stuff. So maybe some of you know what this is right here, this little house looking thing. Maybe some of you don't. So before I worked at the prison, I worked for the U.S. Forest Service. And part of my job, a big portion of that job, was to clean these. Now what is this? It's an outhouse. Now, disclaimer, I don't know what we're gonna find in here. Usually they're pretty nasty. But yeah guys, this is what I would clean toilets for the government. That's what I did. This one is in very poor condition. Not a good, it has not been cleaned properly. I will tell you that right now. So that's what I did, guys, before the prison is I cleaned other people's shit for money. True story. The cool thing about the prison is when I moved to the prison, I didn't have to clean toilets, but I did have to worry about getting slimed. And for those of you that don't know what slimed is, getting slimed is when an inmate throws their urine and feces on you as you walk by their cell. I was fortunate never to be able to experience that, but knew people that did. And so, you know, it's kind of a trade-off. Instead of, you know, prior to the prison I had to clean it. In the prison I had to worry about people throwing it on me. Is what it is. So before this, before the prison, I worked here. Forest Service, cleaned. We did other stuff, but this was primarily one of our main jobs, clean toilets. And what did I do prior to that? Prior to that, I was in college. I didn't know what I wanted to be in college, so I had lived in Mexico for a couple of years and just kept taking Spanish classes until I eventually figured out what I was going to do with my life. Long story short, I never did figure it out. And I took so many credits that I actually ended up getting a degree in Spanish. Didn't have money to pay for college, so I joined the Army National Guard to help pay for that. And was not a very gifted individual academically. I mean, I think my last math class in college was 1050, which is a step above Math 101, college algebra. Got a D+ in that class. Prior to that, in my high school days, I was in sports, but I was not a gifted athlete. I wrestled for 9 years of my life, and 7 of those 9 years were losing seasons for me personally. It was only until the last 2 years that I actually really had a winning season. I played football, but was not a gifted athlete. I couldn't catch, I couldn't run. So I was a lineman, played center, but was not a big guy. I was just a little under 200 pounds, which is not a big person for a lineman. In elementary school, I was the fat kid that got teased and picked on. Not picked on, but I definitely got teased because of my weight. And that's eventually why I got into sports. But why am I telling you these things? Why am I sharing this part of my story with you? The reason I want to share this with you is because to let you know I am not a special individual. I am not specially gifted or talented or, extremely knowledgeable. I'm just a guy that grew up in a middle-class family Dad was a helicopter mechanic. Mom was a registered nurse's assistant. Well, she was a stay-at-home mom until she became a nurse's assistant. Pretty normal background, but nothing, no super, you know, I didn't have a ton of gifts. I wasn't naturally gifted in really anything. And there were obviously obstacles that had to be overcome. And so what's the point I'm trying to make? The point is, all of us, regardless of our circumstances, we all have things that can either play to our advantage or they can be reasons that we don't achieve what it is we want in life. For example, working at the prison, working 12-hour graveyard shifts. I could have used that as an excuse to not change my circumstances. Because when you work 12-hour graveyard shifts and you get home at 6 in the morning, you sleep until about noon or 1 in the afternoon. So that gives you about 4 hours in the day to do everything else you need to do. Because you have to leave by 5 to get to work on time. So you have 4 hours, 1 to 5. And so I could have used that as an excuse and said, well, I don't have time. I don't have time to learn a skill so that I can eventually replace my job income and leave the prison. I could have used that as an excuse, as a reason for not changing my circumstances. Or the reasons that are keeping you, or that you think are keeping you from what you want, you can look at those as obstacles and problems to solve and overcome. And when you overcome them, they make your story that much better. Either way you look at it, either way can be true. You can either have reasons for not achieving something, or you can have obstacles that you overcome and you become the hero of your story that you tell to your children and your grandchildren and all that good stuff. So the point of this video is, regardless of your talents, regardless of your circumstances, regardless of what you know today, regardless of where you are today, you have to make a decision. Will you let reasons keep you where you are today? Or will you look at those reasons differently and look at them as obstacles and problems to solve? And will you go out and solve them and overcome them? Either way is fine. Both are true. But you get to decide. You get to decide what you're going to do. Are you going to succumb to your reasons and continue with life the way it is? Or are you going to solve those problems and overcome those obstacles and get what you want? The choice is yours. And the beautiful thing about life and the world that we live in is, as humans, we all can make that decision ourselves. Choose wisely.